I stared at the screen for almost 30 seconds before my brain caught up. Authorized borrower. My name. My social security number. A credit account I had never seen before.
No.
I said it out loud. Empty kitchen. Middle of the afternoon. Nobody home. No, no, no. I clicked into the account. Balance. $47,281. Credit limit. $50,000. Opened. March 14th. 7 months ago. I checked another account. Another line of credit. $82,000. Open. Active. My hands started shaking harder. Because suddenly, little moments I'd ignored started coming back. Daniel grabbing the mail before I could. Just bills. Daniel insisting he'd handle taxes. I already took care of it. Daniel getting strangely irritated 2 months earlier when I asked why our account needed additional documents.
If you love Reddit revenge stories, subscribe. I post one every single day.
Work stuff. Work stuff. Interesting phrase. Dangerous phrase. I opened our shared financial folder. Everything looked normal. Too normal. Mortgage statements. Retirement contributions. Insurance. Utility bills. Perfect. Almost aggressively perfect. Then I noticed something. PDF files. Only PDFs. Not live account access. Not downloadable statements. PDFs. Documents that could be edited. My stomach turned cold.
No.
No, no, no. I logged into our mortgage portal directly. Password error. Interesting. Very interesting. I reset it. Email verification. Not my email.
His.
Always his. My pulse climbed.
Fast. Wrong.
I called Daniel. Straight to voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Text message. Call me. Nothing. I opened our credit monitoring app. Something I hadn't checked in months. Years maybe. Because trust makes you lazy. Because safety makes you comfortable. Because marriage teaches you that not looking feels like love. Credit inquiries.
7.
7. In 18 months. 2 business loans. 3 personal lines of credit. 1 private lender. 1 account listed under both our names.
No.
No, no, no. I clicked harder. Faster. Loan amount. $210,000. My vision blurred. There had to be a mistake. There had to. Daniel would never.
No.
Not Daniel. Not the man who coached Liam's baseball team. Not the man who surprised me with coffee every Friday. Not the man who cried holding Emma for the first time.
No.
My phone rang. Daniel. Finally. Hey, he said. Normal voice. Safe voice. My chest tightened instantly. Where are you? I asked. Office. Come home.
Pause.
Small pause. Dangerous pause. Why?
Now.
Silence. What happened? Good question. Terrible question. Because suddenly, I wasn't wondering if something was wrong. I was wondering how long my husband had been lying to me. Daniel walked through the front door at 6:17 p.m. I remember the exact time because I'd spent 3 hours sitting at the kitchen table staring at numbers that didn't make sense. Or maybe numbers that finally did. The house felt different. Same furniture. Same family photos. Same life. But suddenly, everything looked staged. Like I'd been living inside a version of reality someone else built. Daniel walked in carrying takeout. My favorite place. Thai food. Extra spring rolls. Normal. Safe. Dangerous. Hey, he said carefully. Too carefully. He already knew. Interesting. Very interesting. We need to talk, I said. He set the food down slowly. No confusion. No surprise. My stomach dropped instantly.
Wrong.
Very wrong. Okay, he said quietly. Okay. Not. What happened? Not. Is everything all right? Okay. Like he'd been waiting. I got a call today. Silence. Real silence. From the bank. Daniel didn't move. Not even a little. Dangerous. $517,326. My voice cracked. First time all day. Dangerous too. What is happening? Nothing. No answer. No denial. Worse. Because denial would have meant surprise. This felt prepared. I can explain. Corporate words. Dangerous words.
No.
My pulse climbed.
Fast. Wrong.
No explaining. I grabbed my phone, opened the accounts, the credit lines, the loans, the balances, one by one, like evidence, like proof, like pieces of a life I didn't recognize. $47,000. Silence. $82,000. Silence. $210,000. Silence. My name. Silence. My actual name. Daniel sat down slowly. Smaller somehow. Interesting. Very interesting. It started with the business, he said quietly. Business. Construction.
Right.
The project delays. The material costs. The contracts. Words. Safe words. Corporate words. I thought I could fix it. Dangerous sentence. I thought one loan would cover it. Dangerous. Then another. Dangerous. Then I needed more time. My chest felt tight. Hard to breathe.
Wrong.
How long?
Quiet.
Sharp. Dangerous. Daniel looked down. 18 months.
No.
No. A year and a half. Christmas. Birthdays. Vacations. Soccer games. Movie nights. Family dinners. A year and a half.
Of lies.
What else? Silence. Wrong silence. What else? Louder now. Shaking now.
Scared now.
Daniel rubbed his face. Exhausted.
Human.
Too human. There were credit cards. How many? 5. My stomach dropped.
Hard.
There were loans. I know there were loans. There was. He stopped. Dangerous. Very dangerous.
What?
Nothing. Daniel. Nothing. What? And then, the thing he said next, hurt worse than the debt. Worse than the money. Worse than everything. I used her information. Silence exploded.
No.
No. Only because. No. My voice cracked.
Sharp.
Broken.
No.
Emily.
No.
My social security number. My name. My credit. My future. Without asking. Without telling me. Without giving me the chance. To say no. And somehow, the worst part, was realizing. He had looked me in the eyes every day. And chosen to hide it. This concept is strong for your audience because it combines financial betrayal plus hidden secrets plus emotional survival plus empowerment plus practical value, which performs very well in long-form storytelling. Since you want 8 to 12 minutes, I'll start with part 1 and keep the pacing optimized for retention. I still remember the exact words. Ma'am, if payment isn't received by Friday, foreclosure proceedings may begin. Foreclosure. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because I thought they had the wrong person. We've never missed a mortgage payment, I said. Silence. Paper shuffling. Then, Mrs. Carter, the mortgage account ending in 4831 is currently 124 days delinquent. My stomach dropped.
Cold.
Instant.
Wrong.
We don't have a mortgage account ending in 4831. Another pause. Ma'am, this property is attached to multiple outstanding obligations. Multiple. Outstanding. Obligations. Corporate words. Dangerous words. I stood in my kitchen staring at the granite countertops we'd picked together 6 years earlier. The coffee maker. The school calendar hanging beside the refrigerator. My daughter Emma's soccer schedule. My son Liam's science fair reminder. Normal life. Safe life. My life. Or, at least, the version of it I thought I was living. Can you tell me exactly what this is about? I asked. The woman on the phone hesitated. Then she said a number that changed my life forever. $517,326.18.
No.
No. That wasn't possible. My husband Daniel worked in commercial construction. I managed marketing for a healthcare company. We made good money. Not millionaire money, but stable, comfortable, the kind of life where bills got paid automatically. College savings accounts grew quietly. Vacations got planned 6 months ahead. The kind of marriage where you stop checking things because trust becomes routine. Trust becomes habit. Habit becomes blindness. There's been some mistake, I whispered. I recommend you contact your financial institution immediately. I don't remember hanging up. I remember my hand shaking. I remember opening our banking app. Checking savings. Checking investments. Everything looked normal. Almost. One account. Our primary savings. Lower. Much lower. $18,441.
Wrong.
Very wrong. 3 months earlier. $142,000. I opened transaction history. Transfers. Large ones. $12,000. $18,500. $24,000. Over. And over. And over. My pulse climbed.
Fast. Wrong.
Then I noticed something worse. An account I didn't recognize. Joint credit line. Authorized borrower. My name. My actual name. And what I discovered next was even worse than the debt. This gives you the bank call, hook plus perfect life setup plus first crack plus retention hook ending. I didn't cry. Not immediately. People think betrayal hits like an explosion. Sometimes it arrives quietly, like your body shutting down because your brain can't process what it just heard. I used your information. The words kept replaying. Over. And over. And over. Daniel was still talking. Business losses. Cash flow problems. A client that never paid. Construction delays. Supply chain issues. Words. Excuses.
Noise.
Because all I could hear was my name, my credit, my future. Used. Without permission. How many accounts? I asked quietly. Dangerous quiet. The credit cards. Silence. The loans. Silence. Daniel. 9. My chest tightened instantly.
9.
9 accounts. 9 separate moments where he could have stopped. 9 separate decisions. Not mistakes. Decisions. Did you forge my signature? Silence. Wrong silence. Terrible silence. Daniel.
Quiet.
Sharp. Dangerous. Yes.
No.
No, no, no. I stood so fast the chair hit the floor.
Hard. Loud. Real.
For the first time all night, something felt real. You committed fraud. I was trying to protect us. Protect us. Interesting. Very interesting. Because somehow, people always call it protection when they're protecting themselves. You could have told me. I was ashamed. You should have been. Silence. Real silence. Dangerous silence. And then, something hit me.
Hard. Fast. Wrong.
What about the kids? Daniel looked confused. What? The college accounts. Silence.
No.
No, no, no. Daniel. Small shake of his head.
Wrong.
Very wrong. Daniel. We needed liquidity.
Liquidity.
Corporate words. Dangerous words.
No.
No. We moved some money. How much? $48,000. I actually stumbled backward. Physical.
Real.
Emma's future. Liam's future.
Gone.
Without asking. Without telling me. Without giving me the chance. To fight. My vision blurred. Not crying. Not yet.
Shock.
Pure shock. Because suddenly, every strange thing from the last year made sense. The hidden mail. The password changes. The stress. The defensiveness. The late nights. The random transfers. The time he snapped at me 6 months ago. When I asked why our savings looked lower. Don't worry about it. Dangerous sentence. 3 words. Huge red flag. And I ignored it.
Because trust.
Because marriage. Because love teaches you that asking questions feels like doubt. My phone buzzed. Bank fraud department. The number I'd called earlier. I stared at it. Daniel stared at me. Emily.
No.
No, no, no. I answered. Mrs. Carter? Yes. Regarding the accounts opened under your identity. Identity. Dangerous word. Real word. The woman continued. Professional voice. Careful voice. Based on what you've described, We strongly recommend immediate legal protection. Legal protection. Not budgeting. Not financial planning. Legal protection. My stomach dropped instantly. Because suddenly, this wasn't debt anymore. This wasn't marriage problems. This wasn't bad decisions. This was something else. Something bigger. Something that could destroy everything. And, for the first time all night, I realized I wasn't just losing money. I might be losing my husband too. I slept in the guest room. Not because I hated him. Not because I stopped loving him. Because I couldn't look at him. Couldn't hear him breathe. Couldn't lay beside someone who had quietly built a second life inside our marriage. One I never agreed to. One I never saw. Or maybe, one I refused to see. I barely slept. 2:14 a.m. Still awake. Staring at the ceiling. Running numbers in my head. $517,326. Over. And over. And over. At 4:08 a.m., I open my laptop. Not emotions. Not crying. Facts. Dangerous thing about facts. They don't care what you hoped was true. I pulled credit reports. Mine first. 7 accounts. 3 credit cards. 2 personal loans. 1 business-related line. 1 private lender. My name. My social security number. My life. Attached. Fraud alerts. Missed payments. Utilization rates. Late notices. Credit score. 641.
No.
No. 3 years earlier. 812. I felt sick. Physical.
Real.
Then, Daniel's report. Higher debt. Worse balances. Hidden accounts. Minimum payments stacked on minimum payments. Borrowing money. To pay borrowed money. A trap. Not one bad decision. Hundreds. Small ones. Quiet ones. Dangerous ones. Then I found something worse. Transfers. Large transfers. Regular.
Consistent.
1 account. Same account. Over and over. $6,500. $8,200. $11,000. No business name. No contractor company. No supplier. Just initials. RM. Interesting. Very interesting. My pulse climbed instantly.
Fast. Wrong.
I opened bank history further back. 16 months. Same initials. Same transfers. More than $86,000.
No.
No. My stomach turned cold. Business losses. Project delays.
Supply chain. Right.
Except, business expenses usually have invoices. Paper trails. Vendor names. This didn't. At 7:12 a.m., Daniel walked into the kitchen. Quiet. Careful. Dangerous. You should eat something. Normal voice. Safe voice. Wrong voice. Who's RM? Silence. Sharp silence. Wrong silence. Daniel froze. Interesting. Very interesting. Emily. Who? Silence. Longer now. Dangerous. Daniel. Quiet.
Sharp.
Who is RM? His shoulders dropped. Small movement. Huge answer. Rachel.
No.
No. Not business. Not suppliers. Not construction. Rachel. Human name. Dangerous name. Who's Rachel? Silence. Wrong silence. Terrible silence. Daniel. Quiet. Controlled.
Terrifying.
Who is Rachel? And suddenly, the debt wasn't the worst thing anymore. Daniel sat down slowly. Too slowly. People buy time when they don't want to tell the truth. Interesting. Very interesting. My coffee sat untouched beside me.
Cold.
Forgotten. Like normal life. Rachel worked with one of our vendors, Daniel said quietly.
Worked.
Interesting word. Past tense. Dangerous.
No.
My voice came out sharper than I expected. No half answers. Silence. Wrong silence. Daniel. Quiet. Controlled. Dangerous. Who is Rachel? His hands rubbed together. Nervous. Interesting. Very interesting. We met last year.
No.
No.
Not that.
Anything but that. She helped me find investors. Words. Safe words. Corporate words. Wrong words. Daniel. Silence. Longer now. I thought she could help fix things. Fix things. Dangerous sentence. Help how? Nothing. No answer.
Wrong.
Terrible. Daniel. Quiet.
Sharp.
Tell me the truth. And then, he finally did. We were seeing each other.
No.
No, no, no. My chest tightened instantly. Hard.
Fast. Wrong.
Not the debt. Not the fraud. Not even my credit.
This.
Somehow.
This.
Because betrayal has layers. And sometimes, you survive one, just to discover another underneath it. How long? Dangerous question. 8 months.
8
months. 8 months. Soccer games. Anniversaries. Family dinners. Christmas. My birthday. 8 months. My stomach twisted. Physical.
Real.
Were you paying her? Silence.
No.
No, no, no. Daniel. Quiet. Terrifying. Were you? His eyes dropped.
Wrong.
Very wrong. Daniel. I helped her. Helped. Interesting. Very interesting. How much? Nothing.
Wrong.
How much? $62,000. My legs actually felt weak. 62,000. College savings gone. Credit destroyed. Debt hidden. Fraud. And another woman. Interesting. Because suddenly, all those late nights, the work emergencies, the contractor dinners, the random weekend meetings. Not meetings. Never meetings. I stood up too fast. Chair scraping hard across tile.
Real.
Sharp. Necessary. Emily.
No.
Tears finally hit. Actual tears. Dangerous. Because once they start, sometimes everything comes with them.
Fear.
Humiliation. Anger.
Grief.
Not grief for him. Grief for the marriage I thought I had. You lied to me. I know. You used my identity. I know. You stole from our children. Silence. Real silence. You looked at me every single day. My voice broke. Sharp. Painful. And said nothing. Daniel didn't move. Didn't defend himself.
Didn't explain.
Maybe because finally, there wasn't anything left to explain. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Normally, I would have ignored it. This time, I answered. Mrs. Carter? Professional voice.
Male. Come.
This is Attorney Michael Reeves regarding outstanding collections tied to your household accounts. Attorney. Collections. Dangerous words. Very dangerous words. Mrs. Carter.
Pause. Small pause.
Terrible pause. There may be legal exposure connected to multiple signatures. Legal exposure.
No.
No, no, no. Because suddenly, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't over. Not even close. It was just beginning. Legal exposure. Those 2 words stayed in my head long after the call ended. People think betrayal breaks your heart. Sometimes, it breaks your sense of reality. By noon, I was sitting in an attorney's office. Family law, financial fraud, identity misuse. Words I never imagined attaching to my life. Attorney Melissa Grant looked calm. Prepared. Dangerous in the way competent people are. Start from the beginning, she said.
So I did. The debt. The accounts.
The forged signatures. Rachel. The college money. The hidden credit cards. Everything. She took notes quietly. No judgment. No shock. Almost worse. When I finished, she folded her hands. Emily. Quiet voice. Professional voice. We need to move quickly. Quickly. Dangerous word. What does that mean? First, separate your finances immediately.
Okay.
Second, freeze your credit. Okay. Third, document everything. Bank records, screenshots, account numbers, emails, statements, evidence. Dangerous thing about evidence. It doesn't care what people intended, only what happened. Fourth, Melissa continued. Open accounts in your name only. My chest tightened, because suddenly, This wasn't damage control. This was rebuilding. And fifth,
She paused.
heavy pause. We need to determine exactly how exposed you are legally. Legally. Again. Dangerous. Am I responsible for all of it? Real question. Terrifying question. Possibly some, she said carefully. But fraud changes things.
Fraud.
Still hard hearing that word. Fraud sounded criminal. Cold. Calculated. Not Daniel. Not my husband. Not Liam's baseball coach. Not Emma's dad. Except, maybe it was. Melissa slid a notepad toward me. Write down every financial red flag you ignored. Interesting. Very interesting. Because suddenly, there were so many. Daniel hiding mail. Password changes. Only PDF statements. Defensiveness around money. Don't worry about it. Dangerous sentence. Huge red flag. Refusing shared account access. Handling taxes alone. Late night stress. Random transfers. Small lies. Repeated enough. They become normal. My stomach turned. Because suddenly, I wasn't just angry at him. Part of me was angry at myself. Melissa looked at me carefully. Emily. Quiet. Professional.
Sharp.
Trust isn't a financial strategy. Silence. Real silence. Dangerous silence. Because somehow, that sentence hurt worse than most things I'd heard all week. At 4:43 p.m., I walked back into my house. Quiet. Too quiet. Daniel sat at the kitchen table. Bills.
Papers.
Bank statements. Interesting. Very interesting. Like suddenly, he wanted transparency. Funny. Dangerous.
Late.
How bad is it? He asked quietly. I looked at him. Really looked. For the first time, not as my husband, not as Liam and Emma's father, not as the person I'd built my life beside. Just
A man.
a man who made choices. Terrible choices. And suddenly, for the first time since the bank call, I realized something. This wasn't my job to fix. Not anymore. This isn't my job to fix. I didn't say it out loud. Not yet. But something shifted. Small.
Permanent.
People talk about rock bottom like it's dramatic. One moment. One collapse. It wasn't like that. For me, it felt quieter. Like realizing I'd spent years carrying responsibilities that were never supposed to belong to me. 3 days later, I opened a bank account with only my name on it. One account. One debit card. One terrifying feeling. Freedom.
And fear.
At the same time, Attorney Melissa gave me homework. Not emotional homework. Financial homework. Credit freeze.
Done.
Fraud alerts.
Done.
New passwords. Every password.
Done.
Emergency budget. Not fun. Necessary. I sat at the kitchen table for 4 straight hours. Mortgage. Utilities. Groceries. Insurance. Emma's soccer. Liam's school expenses. Real life. Numbers don't care if your heart is broken. Numbers still show up. Melissa was right about something else too. Documentation. I documented everything. Statements. Loans. Transfers. Account openings. Screenshots.
Dates. Times.
Conversations. Evidence. Dangerous thing about evidence. It creates clarity. And clarity changes everything. Because suddenly, I wasn't drowning anymore. I was learning.
Slowly.
Painfully. But learning. Friday afternoon. My phone rang. Credit fraud investigator. Professional voice. Calm voice. Dangerous voice. Mrs. Carter. Yes. We've confirmed identity misuse tied to multiple accounts. My stomach tightened instantly.
Wrong.
Okay. There may be additional exposure. Additional. Dangerous word. What exposure?
Pause.
Small pause. Terrible pause. There appears to be a second property loan.
No.
No, no, no. Not possible. We only own one house. Silence. Wrong silence. Mrs. Carter. Professional voice. Careful voice. We believe your information may have been used for collateral documentation. Collateral. Dangerous. Complicated. Expensive. I sat down hard. Kitchen chair. Cold floor beneath my feet.
Wrong.
Very wrong. Daniel walked in 30 minutes later.
Tired.
Older somehow. Interesting. Very interesting. We need to talk, I said.
Quiet.
Controlled. Dangerous. What happened? There was another loan. Silence. Sharp silence. Dangerous silence. Daniel. Nothing. Look at me. Slowly.
He did.
There was another loan. Nothing. No surprise. No confusion. Worse. Because suddenly, I already knew. There was another loan. I repeated. Quiet.
Terrifying.
How much? Nothing. Daniel. Nothing. How much? His shoulders dropped. Small movement. Huge answer. $130,000.
No.
No, no, no. My pulse climbed instantly.
Fast. Wrong.
Because suddenly, $517,000 wasn't even the full number. And somehow, what scared me most was realizing I no longer knew who my husband was. $130,000. The number stayed in my head all night, not because it surprised me, because somehow it didn't. And that scared me more. People think betrayal hits one time. It doesn't. It keeps introducing itself. Over. And over. And over. I barely slept. Again. 2:37 a.m. Kitchen table. Laptop open. Bank statements. Legal notes. Cold coffee. My new routine. Attorney Melissa had been clear. Assume you don't know everything yet. Dangerous advice. Necessary advice. So, I stopped looking for reassurance. Started looking for truth. Truth hurts, but confusion destroys. The next morning, I called Daniel's construction company. Not to embarrass him. Not revenge. Information.
Facts.
Dangerous thing about facts. They don't care what story people tell.
Hi, I said.
This is Emily Carter. Small pause. Professional voice. Can I verify current ownership records? More silence. Interesting. Very interesting. Mrs. Carter. Careful voice. Dangerous voice. Daniel hasn't been majority owner for some time.
No.
No, no, no. What? He sold equity last year. Last year. My stomach dropped instantly.
Wrong.
Very wrong. How much equity? 40%. 40%. I actually sat down. Hard. Cold.
Real.
Not because of the business. Because of timing. Last year. Right around when the debt exploded. The loans. The hidden accounts. Rachel. The lies. Interesting. Very interesting. He wasn't fixing problems. He was drowning. Quietly. Alone. Dangerous combination. At noon, I met Melissa again. More documents. More signatures. More reality. Emily. Professional voice. Calm voice. We've reviewed account history. My pulse climbed.
Wrong.
There are signs Daniel was moving money between accounts repeatedly.
Okay.
Covering debt with debt. Okay. Borrowing to make minimum payments.
Okay.
And
Pause.
heavy pause. Dangerous pause. What? Melissa looked down, then back up. We found indications of gambling transactions.
No.
No, no, no. Business problems. Rachel.
Fraud. Debt.
Now gambling. Interesting. Very interesting. Because suddenly, every missing piece started connecting. The cash withdrawals. The late nights. The hidden accounts. The panic. The irrational borrowing. Not just business failure. Desperation. Dangerous desperation. I drove home in silence. No music. No podcasts. Nothing. Because suddenly, I understood something. This wasn't one bad choice. It wasn't even 10. It was hundreds. Quiet choices. Repeated choices. Compounding choices. Dangerous thing about small bad decisions. They become disasters before anyone notices. Daniel was home when I walked in.
Kitchen.
Again. Interesting. Very interesting. He looked up immediately.
Scared.
Actually scared.
Good.
Very good. We need to talk, I said.
Quiet.
Controlled.
Terrifying.
What now? He whispered. Good question. Terrible question. Because suddenly, for the first time, I wasn't asking what happened. I was asking, how much more? He still hadn't told me. How much more? I said it quietly. Didn't need to yell anymore. Something changes when trust breaks enough times. You stop chasing answers. You start expecting damage. Daniel sat across from me. Kitchen table. Same place where we'd planned vacations. Talked about retirement. Helped Emma build a solar system model in 5th grade. Normal life. Safe life.
Gone.
Emily.
No.
Quiet.
Sharp.
Dangerous. No half-truths. Silence. Real silence. No protecting me. Silence. No protecting yourself. His hands rubbed together. Nervous. Interesting. Very interesting. I started gambling. There it was. Not business. Not cash flow. Not bad luck.
Choice.
Repeated choice. When? Dangerous question. About 2 years ago.
2 years.
2 years. Longer than the loans. Longer than Rachel. Longer than almost everything.
How?
Quiet. Controlled. Terrifying. Sports betting at first. Silence. Then online poker. Silence. Then bigger things.
Bigger.
Dangerous word. Casino apps. Silence. Private betting groups.
No.
No, no, no. You spent over $500,000 gambling. I kept thinking I'd fix it. Dangerous sentence. Again. I'd win. Dangerous. I'd pay things back. Dangerous. I'd make it disappear. Dangerous. 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 You stole my identity. Tears hit instantly.
Real. Sharp.
Painful. You used our kids' future. Silence. You lied every day. Silence. You let me believe we were okay. Daniel looked broken. Actually broken. Interesting. Because somehow, part of me still wanted to help him. Dangerous instinct. Very dangerous. People who love deeply often stay too long trying to save people who refuse to save themselves. I hit rock bottom months ago, Daniel whispered.
No.
No, no, no. Rock bottom. My pulse climbed instantly.
Wrong.
Daniel. Quiet. Controlled. Dangerous. What happened months ago? Nothing.
Wrong.
Terrible. Daniel. I lost everything.
No.
Small laugh. Wrong laugh. Terrified laugh.
No.
The business money. Silence. The equity. Silence. The loans. Silence. I lost it. My stomach turned cold instantly. Physical.
Real.
Because suddenly, I understood. He wasn't hiding debt. He was hiding collapse. Complete collapse. The life I thought we built had already fallen apart months ago, and he'd been standing beside me,
Pretending the walls still existed.
My phone buzzed. Attorney Melissa. 1 text. 5 words. Call me when possible. Dangerous. Very dangerous. I called immediately. Emily. Professional voice. Calm voice. Wrong voice. We found another issue.
No.
No, no, no. Not another. Please, not another. Emily.
Pause.
Heavy pause. We need to discuss your house. And suddenly, for the first time, I wondered if we were about to lose everything. We need to discuss your house. People think panic feels loud. Sometimes, it feels quiet, like your brain refusing to process words it already understands.
No.
I said it immediately.
Fast.
Automatic.
Wrong.
Attorney Melissa stayed quiet. Dangerous. Very dangerous. Emily. Professional voice. Careful voice. We found additional documents tied to the property. Additional. Dangerous word. Daniel refinanced 18 months ago.
No.
No, no, no. We would have both had to sign. Silence. Wrong silence. Terrible silence. Emily. Quiet.
Sharp.
We don't believe both signatures were authentic. Cold moved through my chest instantly.
No. No. No.
Forgery. Again. My actual signature. My actual name. Used. Again. When? Dangerous question. 18 months ago. 18 months. Interesting. Very interesting. Everything kept leading back there. The beginning. The first lie. The first hidden account. The first choice. Funny. People think destruction happens all at once. Sometimes. It starts with one decision nobody sees. We're contesting validity immediately, Melissa said. Okay. We're filing fraud documentation. Okay. Emily.
Pause.
Heavy pause. You need to prepare emotionally for a difficult process. Emotionally. Interesting word. Because somehow, emotions felt smaller than logistics now. I hung up.
Kitchen.
Silence. Daniel sitting exactly where I'd left him. Interesting. Very interesting. He looked up immediately. Scared. Actually scared.
Good.
Very good. Was it the house? Not. What happened?
Not.
What's wrong?
The house.
Because he knew. Interesting. Very interesting. 18 months ago. Quiet. Controlled. Dangerous. 18 months ago. Daniel closed his eyes instantly.
Wrong.
Very wrong. You refinanced. Nothing. Silence. You signed my name. Nothing.
Wrong.
Terrible. Look at me. Slowly.
He did.
Tired. Broken. Human. Too human. I'm sorry. Interesting. Very interesting. Because somehow, sorry felt insulting now. Like bringing a bandage to a flood. I thought I'd fix it. Dangerous sentence. Again. I thought one project would save everything. Dangerous. I thought one win. Daniel.
Sharp. Real. Terrifying.
There was always one more thing. Silence. One more loan. One more lie. One more account. One more chance. One more promise. One more month. Dangerous thing about secrets. They grow. Quietly. Until eventually, they need your entire life. Just to hold them. Emma walked downstairs suddenly. Backpack. Homework folder. Completely normal.
Safe.
Dangerous. Mom? I turned immediately. Too fast.
Wrong.
You okay?
No.
No, no, no. Not even close. But she was 14. Liam was 11. And suddenly, for the first time, I realized something. I wasn't rebuilding for me anymore. I was rebuilding. For them. And somehow, that made me stronger. Not weaker. That night, after everyone went to bed, I opened my laptop. Blank document. Blank future. Blank beginning.
Title.
Rebuild plan. Because for the first time, since the bank call, I wasn't thinking about what we'd lost. I was thinking about what I could still save. 3 months later, my kitchen looked exactly the same. Funny how life can completely fall apart and still leave the furniture untouched. Same countertops, same coffee maker, same school calendar, different persons standing inside it.
Me.
People think rebuilding feels inspiring. It doesn't. At first, it feels exhausting. Paperwork, lawyers, fraud reports, bank meetings, credit disputes, budget spreadsheets, hard conversations, harder decisions. Attorney Melissa helped separate what legally belonged to me from what Daniel created alone. Not everything disappeared. Some damage stays. That's the truth nobody likes talking about. Recovery isn't clean. It's work. Real work. Daniel moved into an apartment 20 minutes away. Not because I hated him. Not because forgiveness wasn't possible. Because accountability needs space. And healing does too. Emma started therapy. Liam too. Me too. Best decision I made. Not because I was broken. Because carrying everything alone almost destroyed me. My credit score started climbing slowly. Painfully. 641. 668. 691. Small numbers. Big victories. I learned things I wish someone taught me years ago. Check your credit regularly. Every month. Know every account attached to your name. Every account. Never give one person complete financial control. Love isn't access. Trust isn't oversight. And marriage is not a substitute for transparency. dangerous thing about independence. People mistake it for distrust. It's not. It's protection. For everyone. The hardest part wasn't losing money. It wasn't lawyers, or fraud paperwork, or rebuilding finances. It was grieving the version of my life I thought was real. Daniel and I still talk. Mostly about Emma, Liam, schedules, life. Some wounds heal. Some change shape. Both are survivable. 6 months after everything happened, I sat in my car outside Emma's soccer practice. Cold coffee. Again. Funny. Some habits survive everything. My banking app opened automatically. Savings. Emergency fund. Budget tracker. Simple things. Beautiful things.
Control. Clarity. Peace.
3 things I used to think came from security. Turns out, they come from awareness. From paying attention. From asking questions. Even uncomfortable ones. Especially uncomfortable ones. Because here's what I want every woman listening to hear. Financial independence doesn't mean planning for failure. It means refusing to disappear inside someone else's decisions. Love deeply. Trust fully. But know your numbers. Know your accounts. Know your future. And if something feels wrong,
Look. Ask. Check.
because ignoring red flags doesn't protect peace. It delays pain. And if you're sitting here listening, wondering if maybe something feels off in your own life, please.
Check.
Not because fear builds strong lives. Awareness does. And if this story helped you, or reminded you of someone who needs to hear it, leave a comment. Share your thoughts.
And subscribe.
Because sometimes, hearing someone else's survival story becomes the reason we start protecting our own. 1 year later, I stood in my kitchen again. Funny how places survive versions of you. The house stayed. That still feels strange saying out loud. We fought the refinancing fraud, the forged signatures, the false applications, months, paperwork, lawyers, bank investigators. Stress I wouldn't wish on anyone. Some debt stayed. Most of it didn't. The accounts opened under my name were removed. Slowly, painfully, but they were removed. The college accounts. We rebuilt. Not overnight. Not magically. $20. $50. Small deposits. Quiet deposits. Hope deposits. Emma got her driver's permit. Liam got taller. Life kept moving. Funny how it does that. Daniel entered treatment. Gambling addiction counseling. Financial recovery programs. Therapy. Real work. Not promises. Not speeches.
Work.
Rachel disappeared from the story months earlier. Honestly, that stopped mattering. Because eventually, you realize betrayal isn't about the other person. It's about decisions, choices, patterns, and accountability. The divorce finalized 11 months after the bank call. People always ask the same question. Do you hate him? Interesting. Very interesting.
No.
I don't. Hate keeps people connected. I wanted freedom, not connection. And one afternoon, almost exactly a year later, Emma looked up from the kitchen counter doing homework and said, "Mom, yeah, you seem happier."
Happier.
Interesting word. Because happiness wasn't what I found.
Peace.
That's what I found.
Peace.
And somehow, that mattered more.
Peace.
That's what I found. Not perfection. Not some movie ending where everything magically worked out.
Peace. Quiet. Steady. Earned.
18 months after the bank call, I sat at my dining room table doing something that would have sounded ridiculous to the old version of me. Monthly financial review. Coffee. Laptop. Budget spreadsheet. Investment tracker. Emergency savings. Simple. Normal. Beautiful. Funny. The things that feel boring sometimes become the things that save you. My credit score crossed 760. Not because I became some financial expert, because I paid attention, because I asked questions, because I stopped handing over responsibility for my future, just because I loved someone. Emma started talking about colleges. Liam wanted to start a small lawn business with his friend. Life moving,
growing,
healing. Daniel and I learned how to exist differently. Not husband and wife.
parents, people,
Two people trying to clean up damage that reached much farther than money. Recovery changed him. Consequences changed him. Truth changes people. Sometimes. Not always. But sometimes. A few weeks ago, I found an old picture. Family vacation. 3 years ago. Beach sunset. Kids smiling. Daniel beside me. Me smiling too. Old me. Interesting. Very interesting. I stared at it longer than I expected. Not because I wanted that life back. Because I finally understood something. That woman wasn't weak. She wasn't naive. She trusted. She loved. She believed. There's strength in that too. People love saying, "You should have known."
no,
Trust isn't stupidity. Love isn't weakness. But ignoring yourself, that's dangerous. Ignoring patterns. Ignoring discomfort. Ignoring that quiet voice that says, something feels wrong. That's the lesson. Not trust nobody. Not do everything alone. Know your life. Know your accounts. Know your numbers. Know your name. Protect your future. Ask uncomfortable questions. Look at statements.
check accounts,
Know where money goes. Not because relationships fail, because awareness matters. And if you're listening to this right now, wondering if maybe something feels off, please,
check,
not tomorrow, not next month.
today,
And if you've ever rebuilt your life after betrayal, financial or otherwise, tell me in the comments what helped you keep going. And if this story meant something to you,
subscribe,
because sometimes hearing someone else's survival story becomes the reason we finally protect our own. And trust me, you're stronger than you think. 2 years later, I got a letter. Actual paper letter. Handwritten. Daniel's handwriting. Interesting. Very interesting. I almost didn't open it. Almost. People think healing means never looking back. Sometimes, healing means being able to, without breaking, without falling apart, without becoming someone else's choices again. I opened it slowly. 3 pages. No excuses. No blaming. No if only. Just truth. Real truth. He wrote about treatment, about meetings, about rebuilding, about learning something too late. That hiding problems doesn't protect people. It isolates them, destroys them, and eventually destroys everyone standing nearby. At the bottom, one sentence stayed with me. I spent years trying not to fail.
pause,
Small pause. Heavy pause. And failed anyway because I stopped telling the truth. Interesting. Very interesting. I folded the letter carefully, set it down, made coffee. Normal morning. Beautiful morning. Because healing isn't dramatic. Most of the time, it looks ordinary, safe, quiet, earned. Emma left for college 6 months later. Liam started driving. Life kept moving. Funny. After everything, life keeps asking you to keep going too. People still ask me what the hardest part was. Not the money. Not the lawyers. Not rebuilding credit. Trusting myself again. That's the hard part. Learning that missing red flags doesn't make you foolish. Learning that trusting someone doesn't make you weak. Learning that surviving betrayal doesn't make you broken. It makes you aware, stronger, sharper. And if you're listening right now, please hear this. Know your accounts. Know your passwords. Know your numbers. Know your future. Not because love fails. Because protection matters. Because awareness matters. Because your peace matters. And if this story helped you, or reminded you of someone who needs to hear it, leave a comment. Share your experience.
subscribe.
And remember, sometimes losing the life you thought you had is exactly how you build the one you were supposed to live.